And now, ladies and gentlemen, Ellerines and Alexandra Promotions are proud to present the most exciting, crucial welterweight title of South Africa over 12 rounds as the showstopper of the season. Allow me, therefore, to introduce to you the two fuming boxers on the opposite corners, looking at each other like wounded leopards. Commencing on the left, wearing white and red trunks, weighing 66.50 kgs, with a complete record of 18 professional fights, won 11, drew 2 and lost 5, ranked number 2 in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sidney Msutu.
Sidney Msutu, I hope you're getting all this because there's a deafening roar around the ringside. The challenger then. Now the champion.
65.60 kgs with a total record of 22 professional fights, won 16, drew 2 and lost 4. The South African champion. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Frederick Siswana. And the referee for this fight is Martin, and the judges are Horn, Khadebe and Kaiser. The doctor in charge is Dr. Mokosho, and the board supervisor, Mr. Ramston. Ladies and gentlemen, over to you, sir.
Well, referee Martin calling the boxers into the center of the ring. And Frederick Siswana is all business, has a very serious look on his face. This is a grudge fight, ladies and gentlemen. Last time they fought, it was an inconclusive ending, really, to the fight. Siswana got the nod. And Msutu wants to prove something this afternoon. They're off, round 1.
And the fight is on. It's a far more decisive and more determined looking Msutu this time. He's coming right into action from the beginning. Last time he was hanging back at the beginning.
Yes, you felt the lack of work rate perhaps was something that Msutu didn't have enough of last time round, Leonard.
Yes, Msutu was very lethargic, I thought, in the last fight. He only woke up in the latter rounds when he tried to put in his best effort. But if he really starts to work at the beginning, he can be troublesome to Siswana. He's got to keep Siswana going backwards. You can't allow Siswana to come forward to you unless you are going to adopt a counter-punching role.
Well, he might be happy to do that, of course, but both fighters look nicely warmed up. They've obviously been in the dressing rooms working hard before this opening round. Neither one is going to be caught cold.
I think the thing, though, is Msutu is not that big a puncher that he can afford to be a counter-puncher. He's got to keep on top of Siswana, keep him going backwards, keep him on the back foot, and score constantly, and that way he can open him up.
Good stiff jab going in there from the champion.
The champion in his usual crouch tucks the gloves in right over his face, always comes forward like that, never stops. Those gloves are always held high.
And of course, that's not an easy target to hit.
Well, that's what happened when Oren Karbi and Lyndon Azaba fought him. They waited for him to come in, waited for him to throw a punch, and that's the only way he opens himself up. And then they caught him with good left hooks coming in, and that was the end of it.
Well, that was a famous face in South African boxing, of course. Willie Tariel. And he's in the corner of Msutu this afternoon.
Helping out the Cape contingent of Lakas Campanis and his son, who handle Msutu.
1-2,
Nice left jabs coming out from Msutu. Looking a lot more determined, a lot more effort coming from the Cape Town fighter.
Well, both fighters know, of course, what to expect from each other. South African title fight it is then, of course.
Probing right going in from Msutu. Unusual to see him leading with a right hand like that.
Well, Siswana tried to force the action there, but got caught coming in by Msutu. Not a heavy punch.
An interesting thing to see, both of them trying for the body there, both landing with body shots towards the end of that round.
Pretty even first round. We'll be back in a moment.
Why do you think it's easier to live better with Ellerines?
Well, for me, it's because they make it really easy to buy on terms.
Aha, thank you.
Welcome back then to this Ellerines promotion here at Nasrec. The South African welterweight title is on line this afternoon. The champion, of course, Frederick Siswana. The challenger, Sidney Msutu.
The jab is hitting him every time.
And we're looking into the corner of Msutu.
That's his trainer, Lakas Campanas, talking to him there. The man who was quite satisfied that his man never lost the first fight said to me as we were coming in.
And if it's going to be, you're aware of it, right?
As we came into the stadium today, Lakas Campanas said, well, we've come back to get the title that we were robbed of.
Well, Msutu fairly ran out of his corner there, and referee Martin had to hold him back. Well, you can tell this is a grudge match between these two. Always nice, Leonard, to have a fight with a bit of controversy, and certainly the result last time has provided that.
Well, the atmosphere is tense here, and so are the two fighters, extremely tense, holding back from one another at the moment. They're neither of them really going in to any extent.
Both men respect each other. It's a good observation, that, Leonard. It is two tense fighters we have in the center of the ring at the moment.
Both of them recognized as distance fighters. By that I mean they go the distance more than scoring quick knockouts, and both of them, I think, quite happy here that they're going to see a long fight ahead of them. This is only the second round. There's 12 to go.
Oh, Msutu is probing with that jab.
I like that jab of Msutu's. It's a very effective weapon. He's pushing the jab through and finding a target too, despite those high, close-held gloves of Siswana's.
Yes, I'd say he's landing that jab 50% of the time. There's an interesting camera angle for you.
Punching with a great deal more speed than he has done before is Msutu as well. Smart, snappy punching coming from the Cape Challenger.
Well, that might be a key for him this afternoon if he can beat Siswana to the punch.
1-2, Libel, 1-2.
Looking good too, because he's countering well. As Siswana throws a punch, he moves aside from it and comes in with a good counter.
And that was a good example there. Siswana moved in and Msutu moved away and managed to land some counter punches.
Good short right hand onto the ribs there from Msutu.
Yes, Siswana really hasn't opened up as yet. That was a low punch.
And we can see the counter-punching thinking coming by Msutu there. He's waiting for Siswana to come through, and he counters very, very well. That short right hand of his is going to be troublesome unless Siswana can get in through past it.
Well, both fighters getting a lot of advice ringside.
Siswana must get in closer than this. His best efforts don't come from a long way out. He's got to be in close, and he's trying to find his way through Msutu's left jab at the moment. That's where Siswana counts. He goes in close and he keeps him there.
Yes, indeed. Msutu with a reach advantage. He'd be quite happy to keep this at a distance for the 12 rounds if it goes that far.
1-2,
Well, a round which I would score, Leonard, for Msutu. Of course, that's unofficial.
I think Msutu is just easing ahead at this stage. Not much in it.
There's a look at the champion's corner.
Stay in. I want him Sunday. I got a chance. Yeah. You see, any chop, chop, and the right. In the right, that's right, isn't it? And so it's very cool. Okay. So, banana. Chop, right. And we're cool, and we're cool. I want to pick up my shy right edge with left hook. My chap, come on, shy straight right, shy about. Don't you the body? Yeah. Come on.
I think he's being told to try and slip that jab of Msutu and work his way inside from there.
Yeah, it's very interesting there that a very calm piece of corner work by Victor Mpiaki, his trainer, seems to be quite happy with the situation as it's going along.
Well, it's been a bit of a chess match, these opening 2 rounds. The fight should settle down now.
Siswana looking a bit more aggressive now. He's trying to get in closer, coming in closer and scoring with those body shots of his. That's where he's got to go in. He's got to get in there close, past that long hand of Msutu's, and he's got to keep it in close.
Sugar Ray Msutu, and you can see it in the face there. Distinct likeness between Sidney Msutu and Sugar Ray Leonard. Well, the crowd gets excited. No real damaging punches thrown, though.
Nice long-range punching coming from Msutu. He's allowing allowing Siswana to come at him, and then he opens up with both hands. And the left jab doing its job. Msutu boxing a very intelligent fight here. Doing the right thing, keeping his man away from him. Siswana trying his best to get in close. That's where he wants to be.
There's a look of enormous determination on the face of Frederick Siswana. And he's very concentrated on his business, but hasn't been able to find a way through yet.
Well, he has the title of gorilla because he likes to swarm all over you and get in tight and bruise you up as much as possible. But Msutu's not letting him get into it.
This is a 12-rounder, of course. A 12-rounder, and both men are pacing themselves accordingly.
Yes, the way these two fight, as the fight goes on, so it's bound to get hotter, and they need all the energy they can keep to themselves right now. Conservation's the big thing.
Some nice footwork there by Msutu.
Well, at this stage of things, Msutu is boxing very composedly, very confidently, looking good.
Well, that was a dangerous-looking left from Siswana. I think it fell just short of the mark.
Msutu's using a body sway that's helping a great deal here. When Siswana does throw a punch like that, he sways with it. Most of the power goes away. That's good counter-punching there by Msutu. The end of round 3.
Well, the third round following the pattern of the previous 2, with Msutu keeping it at a distance, Siswana trying to find a way through unsuccessfully. And as far as I'm concerned, Msutu's perhaps just shading the fight as things stand. We'll be back in a moment.
Why do you think it's easier to live better with Elleries?
Because they deliver almost anywhere in the country. That's a big help to me.
Well, both fighters then taking a breather between rounds.
Don't forget the left.
Hasn't been fought at a hectic pace yet, but still a long way to go. A 12-round title fight it is. The South African welterweight title fight online this afternoon.
Last-minute instructions in Msutu's corner from trainer Campanis. As you say, it hasn't been fought at a strong pace, but they've kept going. There's been a lot of movement. There hasn't been a dull moment. And referee Clem Martin, up to now, hasn't had a lot of work to do.
Well, I think based on their last experience together, they've got a lot of respect for each other. You can see that.
Which is probably making a better fight of it than the last one. The last one was rather dreary. It was a long, protracted, drawn-out effort. Whereas this one, there's a good deal of intelligence coming from both fighters. I like Msutu's approach to it. He's boxing intelligently. He's looking good. Siswana's trying his hardest to be the all-action bruiser that we know him to be. And between them, they're making an entertaining, captivating type of fight.
course, both fighters have had time to sit down and analyze where perhaps they made mistakes in the previous encounter, try and work on a plan for this fight. And Msutu's plan at the moment is to try and set Siswana up off the jab.
Siswana is commanding the center of the ring, keeping there and moving Msutu around him in clockwise fashion the whole time. And I wonder if from that he's not going to find an opening just now that he's been looking for.
Perhaps he's looking just a little bit too much for one punch, is Siswana.
Yes,
like to see a few combinations.
He's the type that wears you down with a battery of punches, not a one-punch knockout artist by any means.
Very little being done in the way of work from Siswana. Tied up when he comes in close.
Msutu quite happy just to keep him at long range with that left jab of his, moving him away with the left jab and throwing the occasional right through. Not a great variety of punches being thrown here. It's the left jab, mainly from Msutu, occasionally a right hand, does the odd left hook. Siswana looking for the one punch that will ease his way through past that defense.
Obviously, as the fight goes into the latter rounds, if it continues this way, then conditioning is going to play a major role.
I think by the look of them, both are in pretty good form. They're smartly conditioned, these two fighters. They both look good. They both look quite competent in that department.
Well, Msutu has worked up quite a sweat. You can see it there on the back. Oh, Siswana with a wild punch there. Msutu under it very quickly. Well, there's a lot of support here for the Cape fighter, which is surprising. The fight, after all, is held up here in the Transvaal, but Msutu has got his fans with him.
Very good round. Right.
There's a look at Willie Tauil and the corner of Frederick, Msutu, Sidney, Sugar Ray and Msutu.
Roll the fire, counter. Okay? You got it. He's opening up for right hand.
One-time professional footballer, now turned boxing coach.
Otherwise, you keep him working with the jab. Okay? Well done. Yeah, we have to hold this.
Well, you certainly need a plan in soccer these days. We're going to find that out against the Cameroons, I fancy, but a look into Siswana's corner. He's got a plan too. He's got to find his way past that left jab of Sidney Msutu.
Well, here we go into round 5. And what does strike me here is that Siswana will really have to get in and come in closer and keep these men going backwards if he wants to get into this fight properly, because Msutu is doing the better work, keeping Siswana at long range with that left jab of his, and Siswana just not able to get past it.
Well, it was good counter work by Msutu as Siswana lunged in there. Some effective punching again from Msutu.
Very smart punching there from Msutu. Nice left jabs, and he's following up with his right hand to the head as well. It was said of him in the last fight, he didn't throw enough punches, he'd have to do more here. Well, he certainly is doing them. He's doing most of the work.
Yeah, I've got the feeling he's stealing the rounds. Referee Martin asking Siswana to keep the punches up, and that looked as if it was a low blow. Certainly Msutu looks in a little bit of discomfort, but he's prepared to fight on.
Snapping out that left jab, snapping it very smartly.
Siswana's not really able to cut off the ring, is he?
He keeps himself steady in the middle of the ring, but I don't think that's quite the right thing for him to be doing, because whilst commanding the middle of the ring, he's not doing anything to get on top of Msutu. Msutu is quite happy to move around and keep boxing his way. He keeps that left jab going all the time, and I think it's a punch that's really worrying Siswana at the moment.
Well, Siswana was slightly off balance there, but it was a good punch from Msutu.
Msutu going through with some good punches at the moment. Siswana commands the middle of the ring, but what we'd expect him to do is to come forward at Msutu, and he's not doing that.
Siswana leaving himself open when he does attempt to get inside, and Msutu's made him pay.
By going in and crouching like that, trying to throw into the body from that crouch, he's leaving his head open, and Msutu has found that he can punch down onto Siswana's head and score.
Oh, that was a good punch from Siswana, the best of the fight.
A nice left hand to the head. The end of round 5.
Well, did we finally see Siswana perhaps solving the puzzle that's being set him? He landed a good punch there. We've got a break between rounds. We'll be back in a moment.
Why do you think it's easier to live better with Welterweight?
I'd say it's the 12-month better living guarantee. It gives me total peace of mind.
Back live at Nasrec this afternoon, and Ellerine's promotion it is. We have the Transvaal Junior Bantamweight title fight to come. The vacant title it is too, between Elias Sabishu and Tembenikosi Kokolo.
A rare thing that we saw in the corner there of Msutu was Msutu actually having a full-blooded conversation back with his cornerman. That's unusual to see a boxer really doing the talking in the corner there, and he seems to know what he was talking about.
Well, let's hope he doesn't tire himself out. I think Msutu perhaps was saying I could take him out. I don't know if his corner would have advised him to do that. Certainly the way he started this round, it looks as if he's intent on stopping Siswana.
Well, before the fight, there was predictions from him in Cape Town that he would take Siswana within 7 rounds. We'll have to see if he can live up to that, but he does look intent on it at the moment.
Well, he's a dangerous champion, is Frederick Siswana. I think Msutu would, well, take a knockout if it came, but I think he'd be content to box his way to a points victory, Leonard. There's the educated left jab again.
That's been the dominant punch in this fight. He's really kept Siswana away with it.
Yeah, I think it's stolen the rounds for Msutu.
Eased the way, all the way through each round. That left hand has been the punch that's been scoring. He pulled Siswana into a very nice right hand to the body there. Siswana swung at him, missed, and in went the right hand from Msutu. Caught Siswana in the body, and that was a good body blow. And a right to the head from the challenger.
Well, this is a good counter work done by the challenger once again. And a wicked left hook there. That caught Siswana off balance. And Siswana took it well. He's got a big heart, and why shouldn't he? He's the national champion.
I think Siswana feels now that there may be a chance for him, because Msutu is opening up, prepared to make more of a fight of it, and that's really what Siswana wants him to do, so as he can get into grips with a close-range fighting.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Leonard, of course. If Msutu does open this up a little bit, then Siswana will have a few openings.
And a good right hand from Siswana caught Msutu. Stopped him in his tracks for a moment.
Oh, there's a good stiff left there by Siswana.
Siswana getting in with some better punches in this round, and Msutu feeling the effects of them. Surprised that Msutu has opened up like he has, trying to make a fight of it, and that's exactly playing into Siswana's hands.
Well, I honestly believe he told his corner he could take Siswana out.
A dangerous thought, perhaps. He does connect with a good left hook there as Siswana came into him, but he's got to be aware of opening up too much. Siswana can get through to him that way. Oh, and a left hand from Siswana went and found its mark.
Bouncing off the top of Msutu's face. Best round of the fight for the champion.
Oh, the champion's best round by a long shot.
Back with you shortly.
Why do you think it's easier to live better with Ellerines?
Well, for me, it's because they make it really easy to bow on terms.
Aha, thank you.
Well, things were looking up for the champion in the last round. Looked as if Sidney Sugar Ray Msutu decided to trade with Siswana and paid the price in the last round.
He certainly did. His corner at the moment is giving him a real tongue lashing about what he did and telling him to get back to the boxing. Stop the fighting.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's the first round Msutu has lost, and it'll be interesting to see if he goes back to his original plan here, just to box with Siswana. Don't do anything silly.
At long range, he has Siswana beaten, but if he opens up and tries to fight like that, he could be in trouble. And he certainly is doing more fighting again now. He's throwing punches.
Siswana ripping some body shots there.
I'm quite surprised that Msutu has adopted this tactic now. A complete change of tactics in the middle of the fight like this.
Siswana pressing forward.
Not quite the same composed Msutu as we saw in the first 4 rounds. He's certainly not looking as happy and as easy in his movements. The left jab still working.
I wonder if he's got doubts about his stamina to go 12. He's certainly bathed in sweat and at times looks a little weary. Too early in the fight to tell, though, I think.
Well, I think he's trained pretty well for a 12, but he's leaving himself open. Those body shots from Siswana at this early stage could be effective. Msutu going backwards here, not looking quite as composed as he was earlier on. Siswana looking a good deal more confident now.
And a wild swinging left hook.
Throwing punches like that. Not a lot of punches landing from either man, but a lot more work coming in from Siswana. He's getting into the fight more than he was earlier on.
Well, I think he paced himself very well over the opening rounds, did Frederick Siswana. And if it does come down to a stamina contest, I've got my money on him. That was a good punch there by Msutu. Towards Siswana coming in.
But Siswana's still coming back on top of him. A lot more confidence in Siswana's movement. He seems to have got to grip with his whole plan at the moment. He knows what to do now. And strange to say, Msutu's left hand isn't as working as well as it was earlier on. He's pushing it out, but it's not as effective as it was earlier on.
Siswana has Msutu on the ropes just above us. Fighters fall into the center of the ring. Referee Martin separates them. He's done a good job this afternoon. Not too much work for him to do. The fighters are separating quite nicely on their own.
Yes, it's been a pretty clean fight. A couple of little infringements here and there, but a nice clean fight. And this is Msutu actually landing back at Siswana now, caught him with a couple of good ones as Siswana came in, and a left hand there hurts Siswana for a moment. That was a good left hand from Msutu. And another one. But Siswana coming right back at him. The end of a really thrilling 7th round.
Siswana for a moment heading towards the neutral corner, but don't be fooled. I don't think he was in any sort of trouble there. Just took a wrong turn somewhere. Well, between rounds we are. 7 rounds in the bag. More to come in this 12-rounder. South African welterweight title fight it is.
And right now I'd say it's anybody's fight. It's pretty close, this bout.
I've got a feeling, Leonard, that Siswana has paced himself a little better in this fight, and it could be to his advantage over the closing rounds. We'll have to see.
Well, as you see now, Msutu's trying to keep him away, but he's not being as effective with that left jab as he was in the earlier rounds.
Right, keep the jab moving all back.
Where at the start of round 8, Siswana's up on his feet, waiting, and they had to push Msutu out of the corner, so it does show that Siswana is quite confident. He's getting right back in on top at the moment.
That was a good body shot from Frederick Siswana.
He's a grueling type of fighter, is Siswana. Not a great deal of science, but he moves it on you, he keeps banging away, and he wears you down, and that's his tactics.
Just like a gorilla.
Well, that's where the gorilla title comes from. And right now, I'd say he looks like a gorilla coming out of the mist.
Well, Siswana taking those punches on the gloves.
A nice body shot there from Siswana.
And one to the head, too, as he came out of the close encounter.
But a body shot like that can stop you in your tracks and make you really feel sore for quite a while. That takes a lot of sting out of you. Msutu not looking quite the composed fighter he was earlier on. The aggression of Siswana is coming through here. He's getting more into the fight. He's coming on top of Msutu, finding his way past that left jab at long last.
Yes, this has become a very even fight after Leonard and I gave Msutu the first couple of rounds. And certainly Siswana right back in it. Nice slick move there by Msutu.
Oh, Msutu's still full of fight. There's plenty in him yet, but I have the feeling that the weight of his punches isn't quite what it was earlier on. Siswana's walking through them now. Nice left hand to the body from Siswana. That's good punching. That's the kind of blows he wants to get in. Those are the kind of punches that slow a man down. Still a very tense fight, still an atmosphere here you could cut with a knife. This is really a tense atmosphere too.
National flyweight champion is in the audience, Daniel Ward.
Good punching there from Siswana. Got on top and right to the head. Siswana looking a good deal better now than he was earlier on.
Yes, he really does have a look of grim determination on his face.
Well, he's got a title. He doesn't want to lose it too quick, and he's going to hold on to it as the best he can. And the best for him means coming in and wearing his man down.
Well, I'm having a very close look at Msutu as he goes back to his corner just to see how he's standing up in the stamina department. Well, we've got an ad break. We'll be back with you.
Why do you think it's easier to live better with Elleries?
Because they deliver almost anywhere in the country. That's a big help to me.
And we're getting into the latter stages of this fight. This is the serious business now. Both fighters will have to dig deep, and well, we'll see who comes up with a win.
Yes, I think digging deep is going to be the alternative here, because after 8 rounds, it's as close as you'll get them. The first 4 rounds were Msutu's. Since then, Siswana's come right back into it.
Have to agree with you, Leonard. I'd have this even at the moment. Well, that's a good sign from Msutu. He's up off his stool first. 9th round then. South African welterweight title. Frederick Siswana, the champion. Sidney Msutu, the challenger.
And Msutu again wanting to make a fight of it, which is what Siswana wants him to do. They're swapping punches here.
Well, this could be a mistake.
A mistake on Msutu's part, yes.
Takes a good right hand from Siswana, does Msutu. The openings are there now.
Siswana getting through with a left to the body, a left to the head. Those are the punches that he likes to throw the most.
Yeah, this is Siswana's range. This is a good fight.
I'm surprised at Msutu's tactics at the moment, because earlier on he was so commanding with that boxing skill of his. but he's not using it now. He's going backwards and he's trying to come in and slug it out every now and again, and that won't work against Siswana.
Well, that was a good counter. I don't think it quite landed, though. Siswana off balance. That's what Msutu has to do. Set Siswana up off the jab. Some heavy punches landed.
Both connected with the left hands there, and it's interesting that we can certainly say Msutu has picked up that punch rate that they said he didn't show in the first fight. He's been all action in this fight.
Well, I think he's got a second wind. He was up off his stool first to start the round. And so often that can be the case. In the middle rounds, a fighter feels, well, very, very tired, and suddenly the second wind comes.
Well, especially if you feel that you've been on top at the end of the halfway mark, which Msutu probably was. The left hand's working again for Msutu. He's looking better again now. While he keeps that left hand going, he's back in with a chance. He's keeping Siswana away. But he's got to keep it in as a boxer. There's no good trying to slug it out with this man. The strength lies with Siswana, so does the aggression.
Still a lot of advice being given here ringside.
Yes, both corners shouting their heads off here. Normally that's regarded as a breach of laws, but nobody's really worrying.
Oh, that's part and parcel of
nice
modern-day boxing.
Range work. Now
sure.
Msutu's back to it. Msutu boxing well again now. The left hand going in. And there I'd say a better round again for Msutu. He did look better that time.
Yes, started off the round looking content to slug it out with Siswana, and then reverted to plan A, which is to box Siswana, and looked a lot better for it. Oh, it was a nice little uppercut inside there from Msutu. This must have been towards the end of the round. Looking to box Siswana from the outside.
Yeah, we got it. You want it. It's there.
We can make out what's going on there because everybody's talking at the same time in Msutu's corner. The boxer in both seconds.
10th round action.
3 rounds to go, and it's still anybody's fight.
No question about that.
And if Msutu can keep up this type of strategy, that jabbing left and keeping his man at long range, then he's right back in with a good winning chance. Now Msutu is looking a lot more confident, calmer. I think you were right. He took that breather in the middle rounds, and now coming back in, probably knowing that he was coming up from the coast, where the altitude might catch him if he wasted too much energy. He let the 6th, 7th, 8th rounds go away, came back into the 9th, and now he's right back into the fight again.
Well, that could well have been in his mind. Not easy for a fighter to come up here to the Transvaal from the coast.
And of course, when it's a tight fight, it's always those last 2 or 3 rounds that catches the judge's eye.
Well, that's why I said earlier on that I thought perhaps Siswana's stamina may tell in the final couple of rounds. We'll have to see. But certainly Msutu is looking better again.
He's looking well. He's throwing good punches with the left hand, working overtime again, throwing a good right to the head, and quite happy to tie up Siswana when he comes in close. Oh, and a nice left hand there shook Siswana right off his feet for the moment. This is much better performance by Msutu now. The challenger coming right back into the fight. Sugar Ray Msutu using the Sugar Ray tactics as best he can. Maybe nowhere near in the same class as the Sugar Ray, both of them, but he's still doing it very, very well, and suddenly switches to the southpaw style and pays the penalty for it.
He got caught there, didn't he, Leonard?
I don't know why he switched to southpaw like that, but he got caught very badly. But landing again with good punches to the head of Siswana as Siswana comes into him. A moment of indiscretion there by Msutu nearly cost him a little bit of agony, but he's managed to pull out of it and he's got back into boxing. The left hand jabbing in neatly. And he makes Siswana miss as he ducks and weaves underneath those blows. Well, the end of a very good round.
I was going to say, Leonard, Siswana may just have caught the judge's eyes in the closing seconds of the round, pulling a leaf out of Sugar Ray Leonard's book, of course, trying to steal the round in the closing seconds. We'll be back in a moment.
Why do you think it's easier to live better with Ellerines?
I'd say it's the 12-month better living guarantee. It gives me total peace of mind.
Back live you are here at Nasrec. About to go into the 11th. Just 2 more rounds to go in the South African title fight. Welterweight title fight. There's the challenger.
Straight right. Don't hook with your right. Okay? Don't hook with your right hand. The left hook.
A look at 10th round action, and there was a wide left hook from Msutu, and Siswana countered it well. And that was the punch that slightly staggered Msutu towards the end of the round. Well, Msutu off his stool very quickly.
2 rounds to go here, and it's now all or nothing, because one of these two has to come out on top in these 2 rounds to really clinch the verdict. It's as tight as that. This is a close one.
Yes, both corners must have been told that you need the last 2 rounds to pull this out. The last fight, of course, was a closely contested points decision, and it looks as if this one could be heading the same way.
Oh, it looks as though it'll go to the cards to get a verdict here, and it's going to be a close one either way, but certainly in the last fight, Siswana came through, I thought, in the last 2 or 3 rounds to dominate proceedings, and I think that's what swung it his way, but is he going to be able to do it now? Can Msutu keep that left hand jabbing? Can he keep it at long range? Because that's where he can win it. But in close, Siswana has the answer. And I will say one thing, respect each for the other has dominated this fight all the way through.
And that respect, of course, was earned during their last fight.
It's been tough and it's been hard all the way, and there goes the left jab from Msutu. That's the punch he must keep going, and he must keep going for the next 5 minutes.
I'm a little surprised that Siswana isn't prepared here in the 11th to force the action a little bit more and try and get into a brawl with Msutu.
Yes, I should think right now he'd go with all flags flying and have a real go like that. But Msutu's doing the right thing. He's moving around fast, he's on his toes, and he's not letting Siswana settle down.
That was a good left hook.
A good left hand from Siswana. Msutu can't afford to catch too many of those.
1, 2, 1, 2, now.
I have a feeling if good left to the ribs there. I have a feeling if Siswana really picked up the pace, perhaps Msutu wouldn't quite be able to stay with it. Well, and another good left, though, from Msutu in return to the body.
It's touch and go, and it's one tit for tat here between the two of them. There's still not a lot in it.
What do the judges look at? The left jab of Msutu or the aggressiveness of Frederick Siswana? Difficult one to call this.
Well, right now I think it's going to be scoring punches that really do count, because Both of them are showing fine form. You can't take it away from the boxing skill of Msutu. You can't take it away from the aggression of Siswana. So it's going to be who lands the most punches, I think, the real effective punches. That's what's going to count with the last round to come up.
Well, both corners have a job to do here. They've got to get their man out and winning this final round. It's as close as that.
You've got 3 minutes in you. Good 3 minutes. The jab, don't forget the jab, right? Don't forget the jab. And a sharp right, not lazy right. Sharp right. Okay?
And the crowd's going to get behind both fighters in this final round. Make sure it's one to remember.
It's going to be an interesting one to see what Msutu will do. Is he going to get on his bicycle, run around, keep the left hand jabbing and hope it scores enough points? Or is he going to take a chance and try and slug it with Siswana and beat him at that game? It's going to be an interesting one because I think it's going to be Msutu's pattern that will decide this final round. Either way, he's going to win it or he's going to lose it.
12th and final round. South African welterweight title on the line. Well, it's Msutu that looks to clinch there. Siswana throwing shots to the body.
Msutu needs to keep the left hand going. That's it. He must push that left hand out and counter with the right afterwards. As Siswana comes into him.
That's a point-scoring punch, all right, that left jab from Sidney Msutu. Siswana stalks his man like a lion stalking prey. But it's the gorilla, of course, Frederick, the gorilla Siswana. The champion, of course.
Two good, very closely matched welterweights here. This is a tough fight between both men. These two fighters, no matter how many times they fight, it'll always be the same, I think. They'll always be close.
Neither man has really been hurt. That could all change, of course, here in the final round.
And if you were to count on punches being scored there, well, it's even Steven just about all the way. Siswana landed with a nice right hand to the head a moment ago.
Msutu took it well, though.
He took it very well, did Msutu.
Oh, nice body punch by Msutu. Dug it in there to the left side. Right side of Siswana. That was a good straight right from Msutu.
Well, the action is certainly hotted up in this round, and Msutu's pattern has been quite strange. One moment he's a boxer, the next moment he's a fighter. And Siswana doesn't quite know what to do most of the time. He just keeps swinging those punches, which means that it's as even as you can make it.
Yes, I wouldn't like to have the judges' job here this afternoon.
No, this is a tight one for the judges to score.
Well, Msutu's keeping Siswana off quite nicely and scoring at the same time, perhaps just shading the round. Still time for Siswana to pull it out.
He's boxing smoothly and coolly at the moment, is Msutu. He's not letting Siswana's aggression get to him. Punching away very neatly. And a nice counter punch there from Msutu. That's the kind of good punching that he needs. There isn't much to go in this fight. It's almost over.
Well, both men trading, throwing bombs.
The crowd on its feet here, shouting encouragement as they go at one another. And there's the end. Both put their hands up to claim that they are the winners.
Well, both men needed perhaps the last round. And, well, Leonard, which way did you see it?
That's a tough one. I'd say perhaps Msutu just shaded it. But I could stand a correction there because this is going to be a close fight. The money's coming into the ring. That shows what the crowd thinks of it.
Action from the last round. Siswana with a wild overhand right misses the target. And this is where Msutu was able to pick him off quite accurately. Perhaps Msutu just stealing that last round, and if that was the case, then I feel the judges may give the decision to Msutu. Certainly, Leonard, he won the opening couple of rounds. Those went in the bank for Msutu.
Yes, he faded away in the middle, but then he came back towards the end very, very well. And this shows you the kind of action that he was doing. He was actually throwing very good body shots there.
Yes, both
to the
men
body
trying,
and come to the head.
Both men trying to trade to the body and then to the head. Well, it was all or nothing here in the 12th round. Will the title change hands once again? It's been a real merry-go-round with this welterweight title ever since the great Harold Fulbrecht retired.
Yes, it certainly has. Linda Zaba won it and then lost it to Msutu. Msutu brought it up here and lost it to Siswana. Now, is it going to go back to the Cape again?
There we go, more action from this 12th and final round. There's the good-looking jab from Msutu and a counter right as Siswana lunged in. That's good boxing by Msutu.
Yes, Msutu was boxing well at that stage, throwing a lot more punches than he did in their first fight. And I think, if anything, that might be the thing that just about gets it for him.
Well, both men are dancing around the ring at the moment. Both men are convinced they've done enough to win the decision, and now they embrace. That's good to see. Because I think there was a fair deal of animosity coming into this fight, but it's all disappeared now after a 12-rounder, a hard fight. Both men shake hands and embrace in the center of the ring. Well, we await the decision with interest. It's taking its time coming into the ring, but the judges want to make sure they've got their cards exactly right. And we don't have a repeat of that incident at Eldorado Park the other day where one of the judges got his sums wrong.
Yes, we certainly don't want any more of that. We'll have to read in the paper on Tuesday morning that the decision had been reversed.
Yes, a heavy responsibility on the shoulders of the judges. Will the title change hands? Will it go to that man there, Sidney Msutu? Or has the champion, Frederick Siswana, done enough? Of course, a draw is a possibility here, Leonard.
It is too, and there's going to certainly be one very disappointed young man in this ring. I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but after the fight that they've just put up, there's going to be one disappointed fighter. He is going to be either the loser, or in the case of a draw, of course, that would mean Siswana would keep the title.
Well, the decision is coming into the ring now. The old buck belt is on display.
And here we go to the ring announcer.
Let's hear from Boyke Folo.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very, very big hand and a standing ovation, please, for the two gentlemen. Thank you very much. And here is now the score as seen by the judges. Judge Horn scores the fight 115, 117. And Judge Khadebe scores 118, 113. And Judge Kaiser scores 117, 114. The winner on a split decision and still the South African welterweight champion, Frederick Siswana.
Well, there you have it. Siswana is the winner. He's won on a split decision. You know, I said beforehand I thought that Msutu might just do it, but I stood to correction. Well, I'm corrected, but I am inclined to go with the judge who said 117, 115 in the case of Msutu. However, a good fight and an unfortunate loser.
Well, it's the old story, of course. The champion has the belt and the challenger has to come and take it away from him. I'm not sure that I agree with the one judge who scored at 118, 113, but hell of an interesting fight it was. A look at the champion. And for the time being, we're going to go back to the studio.